Yo, thanks for jumping on here. Welcome to the I'm Here For It podcast. I'm here for it, all of it. The good, the bad, the sad, the funny, the messy, you name it, and I'm here for it. That's what this podcast is all about, and I am so excited to be bringing this podcast to you. Listen, this podcast is about having real conversations about real life with real people where we get into it. We talk about the things that are brilliant in life and the things that are broken in life. We have big belly laughs and we talk about big feelings. No filters, no fake vibes, no pretending like we've got it all together or have it all figured out. We're not going to take ourselves too seriously. This is about showing up honestly and getting into it. Whether your season is crazy or calm, whether you got a ton going on or you got nothing going on, whether you are exhausted or pumped up and ready to go, wherever you're at, I'm here for it, and I'm glad you're here for it. My name is Josh, and I'm your host, and this podcast is my podcast. Let's go. Yo, I am so pumped about this podcast. Seriously, I'm not just being hype or amped up. You have no idea how long this has been in the making. I've had the gear set up for this for over a years. See, when did I get? At least 2 years, there were plans for me to make this. This podcast has been in the waiting. And you know how in life you have a bunch of things. It's maybe not a list, but you got stuff. You got stuff you got to do. You got stuff that you have to do for work. You have to do for your house or your home or your living situation, whatever that may be. You have stuff that you like to do and also have to do. You have stuff that you just like to do, but it's easy to do because you have time and it fits well. And then you have stuff that you're really passionate about. And some of us are lucky enough to just be able to do what we're really passionate about all the time. And I have that in certain aspects of my life, but I love podcasts and I'm passionate about them. I've helped other organizations launch podcasts. I've helped other people launch podcasts. I produced podcasts. I host podcasts, and I've all the time been wanting to just have my own, where I talk about my stuff with my friends, where it's just my show. And I love those other shows that I've been a part of, but they're just not mine. It's just not my vibe. And so this one is. And it's been put on the back burner by so many different things. We've moved locations. I was hoping to launch this past year, and our church had this awesome opportunity. It's such a blessing to be able to move from a smaller location to a bigger location, and I thought we'd have a little bit of a break, but it doesn't seem like that's in the mess. Things are still growing, and you know, when you do something like that, there's always challenges and always things that you have to figure out. I think nothing in life is ever just like completely all good without any challenges or without any things you got to figure out. And that's been fun and exciting and exhausting and taken up an enormous amount of time. I had my book, which we has been in process for 4 years, and I kept putting it off, and I told myself, like, Josh, you cannot launch the podcast until the book is published and out. And it published in December, shortly before Christmas, and then a couple versions later and a couple months later. And the Embracing All of It, How Our Faith Makes Us Feel Better book is here. It's been here. And that's been a journey too. And I'm so thankful for all of the people that have picked that up and jumped into it. That book is all about, we'll get into that at other times. I don't want this to be about the book. I want this to be about the podcast. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point. But yeah, so then I had that going on, and it's just been a ton of stuff. And then I said, all right, like March 1st, that's the go date. And then I feel like I spent most of February dealing with all kinds of stupid illnesses. It was like absolutely ridiculous, from weird viruses that the doctors don't know, what it was or whatever, to the worst, like, we don't need to get into all the physical ailments I had in February. But that threw me back about a month. And so finally, here we are. And I have Easter coming up. And, I'm not sure when we're going to publish this, but I'm recording it the week of Easter. And I'm like, I'm doing it. I don't care. I have a ton of stuff going on. And I'm just doing it. So here it is. Episode 1. Now, in the podcast world, they call these kind of like teaser episodes or preview episodes. They're episodes that are designed to like give you a sneak peek into what the whole thing's about. And I almost didn't do it. I have a bunch of guests that I've talked to that are lined up, and I have to schedule them and get recording with them. But I just wanted to jump into those conversations because that's what I'm most excited about. I hear myself talk enough. I don't need to hear my own voice anymore. You probably don't need to hear my voice anymore. But I thought, those things exist for a reason, and they're important because they kind of set the tone for the whole show. So I want to kind of like do that and just give you this little preview episode, teaser episode to kind of like set the tone. This is a podcast where, listen, I love authenticity. I'm drawn to authentic people. I try to be transparent in everything I do. Listen, I am drawn to authenticity. I don't know if I'm addicted to it, but like I find that such an important piece and an attractive piece in life, no matter what you're talking about. Like I have no time for fake people. I have no time to play games. I have no time to pretend like let's get together. You ever have a social situation like that? I wonder if that's why there's so much social anxiety going around, but like social situation where it feels like everybody shows up and spends the entire time trying to show how much they have it together or how good they're doing. I got no time for that. I don't have time for people that pretend to be hyper spiritual, or I don't have time for people that pretend at all about anything in life, act like they got it all together, they have it all figured out. That's just not reality. Listen, if you're watching this and you're a mess, I talk to enough people in my life and in my work that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, you are not alone. Your pastors are messes. The people, I'll probably get myself in trouble in this podcast. The people that present those perfect looking pictures on Instagram with those perfect little looking kids and that perfect looking marriage. Yeah, it's a mess. We're all just trying to get by and figure it out and do the best we can and love people that we care about the best we can. And we all make mistakes and we all struggle. And that's straight up biblical, right? Like, don't give me that line like, ooh, he said that about pastors. It's straight up biblical. Paul, and this isn't like just, I'm not going to be throwing Bible at you, but like Paul in, he says, the things I want to do, I don't do. The things I don't want to do, I keep doing the things I don't want to do. And then I keep doing the things I want to do. That's the stuff I don't do. And so we're all in this same boat together. And this is a podcast where we're going to be authentic and have real conversations with real people. And it might get tough sometimes. I'm not going to talk to people about stuff they don't want to talk about or uncomfortable putting stuff on air. But I want to ask people real questions. And maybe we can like give each other the courage and permission. And maybe you listening, give each other the courage and permission and encouragement to like take down the mask and to let people see the real us. I think that's where the beauty is found. I think that's where the meaningful stuff is found. I think that's where our lives are impacted the most, and we impact the lives of other people the most. And I think for the most part, not everybody, not everybody. There's certainly people that fall for or enjoy the fake show in every aspect of life. They're just full participants in it, and they don't mind other people pretending, and they like to pretend themselves. There's people out there like that. I just don't want to spend any time with them. and I don't want to. So there's gonna be times where I ask our guests hard questions because that's what I'm interested in, and that's where we learn, and that's where the beauty is found. It's found in the mess. We'll do fun stuff too on this podcast. We'll have some components to it. Like I'm thinking about having the what's living rent free in my head kind of component. You ever have any of those? I want to share a bunch of them with you right now, but I'm going to hold off until we can hear from our guests and I can share some of what's living rent free in my head. Those things that like just those things, I'll share one of them. So my middle child, and she was in a musical production called something. Oh, shoot, I forget what it's called. The 80s. It was something to do with the 80s, all about the 80s, and it was all 80s music. And I had like ABBA, and is ABBA the thing? Like I had these songs like playing rent free in my head forever, like Radio Man, like that song. Like the one that does the whole bit about like get out of my head and into my car. I don't even know. I don't even like that song. I don't like that song at all. These songs are like living rent free in my head. It took literally a month for me to be able to stop singing, humming, thinking about all of these 80s songs. My Angel is a Centerfold was one of them. And by far, I'm not giving you too many details on this podcast because it's going to go far and wide out there, and I protect boundaries in my personal life. But for those of you that are listening that know already, like shout out to this cast, crew, and director. Back to the 80s, that's what it's called. This was a fantastic show. I've been to a lot of musicals in my life. I never watched them before. I like to go in without knowing what the whole theme is about or what's going on, and that can be hard in my house, but I've managed to pull it off. So I was completely surprised by the show, and it was absolutely so much fun. Crowd singing, but this one student who performed this, if you know the musical, you know the musical, but like there's this one teacher character who's dating another teacher character, and I don't want to give up the story, but they perform, the dude performs My Angel is a Centerfold. I don't even remember who actually sings that song. It was so much fun. All the creative pieces they put in this, it was hysterical. Like I laughed so hard, and the energy that this cast member put into that song, his solo, it was a vibe. I'm going to spend my entire life trying to match the energy in that vibe. It was unbelievable. So, yeah, like we'll have sections and components of that, like what's living rent free in my head. Thankfully, the 80s music is not living rent free in my head anymore. We'll have stuff where we talk about, like, have you seen it? Talk about some of our favorite, videos and stuff we've seen on social media that's cracking us up. I don't know if you have a saved section of Reels or something, or TikToks, but my family, my wife has a bunch of saved Reels, and sometimes we'll just sit and she'll screencast it onto the TV screen, and we'll just watch these hysterical videos. We'll probably do some fun stuff like that. We'll mess around with our guests a little bit, but ultimately the real meaning of this is just to share stories about real life and real people, because I think that's where like the beauty is found. And I hope that you're here for it. I'm here for it. Whatever it is, the good, the bad, the crazy, the nutty. I have some friends with some absolutely crazy stories and crazy things that have happened in life. I've had friends that have walked through some of the most difficult stuff you could imagine. I have friends that work in fields where they just have so much to offer and really incredible and creative and amazing stuff going on. And I cannot wait to have them on here and to bring them to you. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So as I was thinking about this, I thought of this story that has been actually living rent free in my head since I've been talking about this podcast. I wanted to kind of like share this with you because I think it's an appropriate send off for our first episode here. My friend Chad and I were pretty tight in college. He's from Colorado, grew up just outside of Boulder, Colorado, in the mountains, in the Rocky Mountains. We both had a very adventurous spirit and did a lot of stuff together. And one of the things we did is we found this on this break where we were out in Colorado. And if you're close to me, you might have heard this story already, but I think it's relevant and important for those that didn't hear it. We would go out and do all kinds of different adventures, and we'll talk about some of those adventures. Hopefully I can get Chad to be a part of this podcast at some point. He's got a pretty cool story himself and lots of crazy experiences, some of them together, some of them not. But we went out to Colorado and during a Thanksgiving break, and we're looking for some adventures over that break. Chad had heard about from one of his firefighting friends, one of the guys, I forget what they're called. They jump out of planes to fight fires. This guy was pretty awesome. And he had heard about this abandoned mine that this guy had kind of like started to explore a little bit. So we had this great idea that we were going to go explore this mine. We got there and there were, it was fenced off. Like somebody had put up a fence, obviously, because people were going in there and causing trouble. The mine had been abandoned, and those things are not safe. You should not do anything that you hear in this podcast. But we were young and invincible and thought, this seems like an adventure. So the rocks had kind of fallen down, which should have been a sign to us, but the rocks had kind of fallen down on the edges of this thing, jarring the gate that they had put up to keep people out, so you could kind of like get around it pretty easily. It still looked like you couldn't, but when you got up close to it, you could see a way around. So we got around, and with some headlamps, and that's about it. We started making our way back through this abandoned mine out there in Colorado. It was interesting at first. You could see signs of life, like people spray painted stuff on the cave walls and the mine walls, and people left trash and beer cans were crumpled up and laid around, and stuff from people going in there and causing all kinds of shenanigans. It was clear we were not the only ones that had this idea. It wasn't clear whether that stuff was going on before the gate went up or after. Regardless, we just kept going, and it was a walk. It was nice and cool in there, and it was pretty interesting. The further we got, you started to not see any signs that anybody had been in here for a long time, and I was fairly certain that we had walked well past what anyone had walked back before, probably since the miners had left. We kept going further and further, and this was taking us for a while. We were deep under the mountain, and Chad and I would keep looking at each other, and he would say, like, hey, you want to turn around? And I'd be like, no, I really wanted to turn around, but I didn't want him to know I wanted to turn around. And he'd be like, yeah, me neither. And I found out much later that he was thinking the same thing. He was asking, hoping that I'd say, yeah, let's get out of here. And I was... And when I wouldn't say that, because I didn't want him to think I was the one that was going to say that, he would be disappointed. We kept going down this mine like that. Eventually got to places where there were wires coming out of the rock wall where, it seemed like those were from charges or whatever that had been placed to blow out pieces of the mine. And down shafts that were flooded and filled with water. You'd see ladders under the water, just where people would crawl up and down these shafts. Little rooms where the miners would stay. It seemed like little offices carved in with desks, maybe where they ate lunch or something. Or it even looked like there was a little like bed carved into the wall where they would maybe lay down or take a nap. I don't know what that was for, but we kept going, asking this question every so often. We got to be about a mile underneath this mountain, which is crazy to think about. And we get to the end of as far as we can go, and we're looking forward. And I have a picture of this somewhere. I don't know where. The end of the road here, everything had caved down. Like there was just a bunch of loose rubble kind of packed that clearly had fallen from the ceiling and had not been removed. And it looked like that was the end of the road for us walking through this mine. But as we shine our flashlights up near the top, you could see this little tiny hole up there. And at this point, curiosity got the best of us. And so we scurried up this pile of rubble to the top to look through, and you couldn't really see anything through this hole. It was small enough that you couldn't really like crawl through on your hands and knees, but big enough that we could easily fit through if we kind of like army crawled through. So against all better judgment, lacking wisdom in every sense of the word, we crawled through the top of this thing and down the other side. And what we found was the actual end of the tunnel, and it was about the size of a normal sized room, size of the office I'm sitting in here right now, just where they had stopped digging. We went to the far wall, sat down, and looked backwards at the rubble we had just crawled through in a little hole at the top. And that was a tiny hole, and it would not have taken much for us to get stuck. Nobody knew where we were. It was a really bad situation. But we sat there, and my buddy Chad looks at me and he says, let's turn off our headlamps for a minute. And so I'm like, okay. We turned off our headlamps, and it was like complete and utter darkness. It was darkness, like so dark that it affected you, like in your heart. Like that's what it felt heavy. Like, have you ever been, I don't know if you've ever been in something that dark. I held my hand up to my face, and you could not see your hand until it was, even when it was touching your nose, like it was just so absolutely dark, and it felt heavy. It felt sad. It felt terrifying. I knew Chad was literally inches away from me sitting on my left hand side, but I also felt like I could have been the only person in the world. Like that's how intense the feeling of loneliness and isolation and darkness was in my life. We sat there for a minute that felt like an eternity. And then finally Chad flipped his light back on, and I flipped my headlight on, and like hope ran back into our souls. And we were like, let's just get out of here. It had affected us. We crawled out, took the journey back. The adrenaline rush eventually wore off. We shared that neither of us wanted to go that far into the tunnel, but we weren't being really honest with ourselves. And later we found out that part of that mine had collapsed 2 weeks after we had been there, I think. I'll have to get Chad on and fact check that. But that part of it had collapsed. And so there we were, right? Like two people super close to each other. The lights were off and feeling completely isolated. And I share that story here on this episode 1 because like I hope that these conversations, they flick the lights on for some people. I know we can be surrounded by people in relationships, popular, have friends, people like us, be connected all over social media, and yet feel absolutely and terrifyingly alone. And I want you to know you're not alone. And I want to flip the light on. I know what that feels like. I've been there. And our stories being told help flip the light on for each other to remind us that we're not alone, that there is hope, that joy can be part of our lives again. And so I was thinking about this episode, the podcast, that story, and I'm like, I hope this is your let's turn the headlight on moment. This podcast will help you realize, somebody out there, that you're not alone. And we can do that by sharing real stories from real people about real life. And yeah, so if you're out there, you're not alone. Welcome to this mess. We're all in it. And I can't wait to continue these stories with all of you. Listen, I don't know what your story is like right now, but I'm here for it. Until next episode, yo, until next episode, be kind. It's okay to be a mess. I'm here for it. Thanks for tuning in to the I'm Here For It podcast. Just a quick reminder, the thoughts and opinions shared on this show are our own. They don't necessarily represent the thoughts and opinions of our employers, our places of business, our families, or maybe even people that don't want to be associated with us anymore. And honestly, sometimes we even question our own thoughts and opinions after these shows have aired. We're not doctors, therapists, lawyers, experts in anything except maybe overthinking things. Well, maybe some of our guests are some of those things, but for real, this podcast is not about offering you professional or therapeutic help. We're just here having fun. It's for entertainment purposes and maybe a little bit of education. Yeah, we hope it can make your life better and make you smile and encourage you a little bit. But seriously, this is more like a group chat that you didn't know you needed. So don't take anything too seriously from us without at least double checking it with someone who actually knows stuff. Stay kind, stay curious, and no matter how weird it gets, we're here for it.